In 1947, a powerful but often overlooked chapter in history unfolded off the southeastern coast of Africa, the Malagasy Uprising. This was no ordinary revolt, it was the Malagasy people's fierce attempt to break free from nearly 6 decades of French colonial rule. As the world was recovering from the impacts of World War II, the people of Madagascar saw a glimmer of hope. Nationalist groups had been advocating for independence, driven by dreams of self-rule and the desire to reclaim their land, culture, and dignity. On March 29, 1947, the uprising began, igniting a flame of resistance across the island. Thousands of Malagasy fighters, some armed with little more than courage, rose against the French military. They sabotaged railways, attacked military outposts, and sparked a rebellion that would last over a year. The French response was swift and brutal. With vastly superior firepower, they cracked down on the rebellion, leading to the deaths of tens of thousands of Malagasy people. Entire villages were burned and thousands were imprisoned or executed. Despite the suppression, the Malagasy Uprising had lasting impacts. Though it would take until 1960 for Madagascar to finally gain independence, this uprising was the spark that fueled a greater movement for freedom. It reminds us of the high price people are willing to pay for sovereignty, even when the odds are overwhelming. Today we honor the bravery of those who fought for Madagascar's future, ensuring their fight for freedom is not forgotten.
In 1947, on the island of Madagascar, a powerful fight for freedom erupted, a movement so fierce, it shook the French colonial empire to its core. This was the Malagasy Uprising, a bold struggle for independence, and a haunting chapter in Madagascar's history that few outside the island remember. But why did this uprising occur? What drove ordinary men and women to risk everything against a well-armed colonial power? Today, we uncover the story behind the Malagasy Uprising and the price paid for freedom. To understand the uprising, we first need to explore the roots of Madagascar's colonial history. In the late 19th century, France took control of Madagascar, incorporating it into its empire. Over time, the Malagasy people faced oppressive policies, forced labor, high taxes, and the suppression of their language and culture. Under these conditions, the seeds of resistance began to grow. By the 1940s, after years of exploitation and broken promises from France, the call for independence was stronger than ever. World War II had weakened the colonial powers, and many Malagasy believed it was time for change. In March 1947, tensions reached a breaking point. On the night of March 29th, thousands of Malagasy nationalists coordinated attacks across the island, targeting French installations, military bases, and colonial officials. This was more than just a protest. It was an uprising, with entire communities standing together to fight for their homeland. The scale of the rebellion shocked French authorities. Villages rallied around nationalist leaders, and many fighters were driven by a mix of anger, desperation, and hope for a future free from colonial rule. But the French response was swift and ruthless. In the following weeks, France deployed thousands of soldiers to crush the uprising. Villages suspected of harboring rebels were burned, and entire communities faced violent retaliation. The French used machine guns, planes, and even napalm to stamp out the resistance. The cost of this brutality was devastating. Estimates suggest that as many as 90,000 Malagasy people, men, women, and children lost their lives during the crackdown, though the exact number remains disputed. The Malagasy Uprising quickly became one of the deadliest anti-colonial struggles in the French Empire. The uprising eventually ended in 1948, but its impact lingered. While the rebellion was crushed, it marked a turning point in Madagascar's history. The courage of the Malagasy fighters inspired future generations and reignited a sense of national pride and unity. Just over a decade later, Madagascar would finally achieve independence in 1960. Today, the memory of the Malagasy Uprising lives on, ever a powerful symbol of the fight for freedom. Memorials across Madagascar honor those who fought, reminding us all of their sacrifice. The Malagasy Uprising was more than just a rebellion, it was a declaration of identity, resilience, and the unbreakable will of a people. Madagascar may have been a small island colony, but the spirit of its people proved immense. Today, as we remember this uprising, let's not forget that the fight for freedom often comes at a great cost. But it's a cost that history and the Malagasy people refuse to let the world forget. Thank you for watching. If you found this story inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that unveil the lesser-known histories of our world. Let us know in the comments what stories you'd like us to explore next. Until next time, keep uncovering history's hidden truths.